an experience with the work when we installed it at the MCA in Sydney, Truna, and we were alongside a number of other artists in this huge museum, and our work's installed in the cloakroom, whereas everyone else gets a gallery wall. But we found that the police were invited to come around and see all the works and see if there was anything that was contentious or they were worried about. And they stopped at our work and immediately had problems and were fearful about the content that people might be writing and the fact that there could be potential complaints and what procedures we might have in place for something that might offend someone. And the last thing we wanted to do was censor the work, particularly at a point where it hasn't even started, the season hadn't even started. So we just, our line was, well, we had talked about this idea of natural selection within the work, and if it was a bad idea, then it would fade away and die, and the good ideas would just stay. So if there was something that was the environment or something that offended people, perhaps it would stay, or if it disappeared, then it would say something about its city, about the ethical nature of the city. So, yeah, I found it quite an interesting thing.
Yeah, I know last year people get people to sign letters and yeah, these sort of details and that sort of thing, which yeah, is quite interesting because of course a lot of these games don't as well, and I'm curious about that idea. Particularly, alternate reality games where rather than, I guess having what I describe as the sort of the box office, and like when you go and see a movie, it's like where does the reality start and end? It's like, well, it ends as soon as you go to get to the box office. And as soon as you've got that kind of frame of context, but of course alternate reality games don't have that kind of box office tangibility. You sort of stumble into them at some point, and then suddenly you're involved in the game. And I suppose for that reason, alternate reality games are that kind of, that a bit more of a questionable area. I feel like I'm taking your show.
No, that's absolutely perfect because the questions on themselves is exactly where we want to be. However, I'm going to open up the floor to questions from the audience. And I'm going to start with a couple of questions from Twitter, both relating to transhuman. One was how many people play, and the other was who funded the revolution.
Good questions. How many people played the work? Not enough. Not enough for me. So the work, we were able to monitor the work online and see who's uploaded to the server. And we had around 100 people playing online. The work is half an hour long, and I think, in hindsight, a 3-month season is too long for this type of work, and would have been served better by a short period of time to kind of amass more critical mass to see that kind of work. And who funded? Who funded us? So the original research and development, we got a West Australian development grant, what did take us to work with in Christchurch for a month. And after that we had some funding from the Australia Council, and the Digital Culture Fund helped to instigate this.
Funded by the government.
Of course.
Excellent. We have a question in here.
Hi, just a question on basically the nature of the talk. We've come so far with the controller. For instance, like Mario Brothers and all the games we've made up to this point, the sort of level of immersion we've gotten so far. Now that we're talking about destroying and ditching the controller, moving to things like AR, how much of our past of games do we have to sacrifice to move into this direction? Like, is there a way we can keep where we came from in this new area?
I don't think it's a case of sacrificing. I don't think it's a case of sacrificing. I think it's more a case of noticing.
the screen and using them. So we will, I don't know if you'd say losing a lot of stuff, but it's definitely different, just like a novel's different to a game. You know? Yeah. And I get sick of the nostalgia that's in games. You know, I don't mind a fresh start. I get sick of it's so nostalgia focused, it's so tech focused, and it often never goes outside. But even in the indie scene, that I'd like to see this new medium take advantage of what it's good at.
Great. I have another question here.
Yeah, you're obviously working within limitations of technology and software at the moment, and it seems that there seems to be a wall. So what do you see on the other side of that wall? What would you like, what kind of software or technology would allow you to do what you want to do?
The constraint's a good thing. I'm not complaining about it. If I can't even animate something, I can't control the lighting. So basically I have to have something that has asynchronous gameplay, but it just means we need to think a bit harder. I think if we had everything we wanted first up, people would be far more likely to, do the space invader scenario. And I think you need to just.
So I guess I'm sort of asking, where do you see AR going? If you could think outside any box, what would be the ultimate, from your current understanding, I guess, rather than, I'd rather better DPS.
The functioning GPS would be nice for a start. You're probably asking the wrong person, because you may go that I'm not actually I'm a bit of a Luddite at heart, and even though I'm working in kind of this field, I enjoy what this is about, not what technology is involved.
You were saying you were disappointed with people redoing old games. For example, Pac-Man on New York. Isn't it good to redo those old games in a new media or in a new way, just to see what doesn't work and what does work, and that's how you explore that?
Yeah, that's a good one. And so Pac-Man was good because it was accessible and familiar to a lot of people. People immediately know how it's played. So it is good to bring in some of the context there, to introduce people, and then broaden that placements, because you're playing something familiar in a familiar place and adds an extra element to the game. Then if they have a similar mechanic without the context that we all know. So yeah, I've no problem with bringing some context in to help people know their way around.
Do you mean redoing old games or kidding me? The one that gets me is kidding me. It's a new game and actually it's the same old game.
Right.
The old games, they're sort of beautiful, they're like old photographs, they're beautiful, retrospective. It's the one that's a new game, not, but actually just that same old mechanic dressed up and kind of, nice little painting. Thank you very much. I'll kid you, it's fresh.
Yeah. Well, the one that's done really poorly is Counterexample. It's a zombie game. Everyone laughs when they see that for the first time. It's not scary. You don't feel like the zombies rushing you. It's kind of awkward to you. It's like to play Left 4 Dead. You really got to think about why you're doing it. And so Pac-Man had a hook, but the mechanic actually was real life. It wasn't, a game. There's a difference between using this as a tool and using this as a controller. I suppose there's a difference between those two games.
Another question here.
Just for the panel, it seems to be heavy art focus. So even less on if it was a game, it was more an art focus or an academia focus. Do you think that AR is a good format for a game? For me, it's actually probably a lot better for a utility. And so I put to you, would you put all the effort that you're putting into the performance art base and put all that thought and effort into making something actually useful for people? Like a utility rather than a game or an art piece?
I reckon games are pretty utilitarian as well, but I think that, AR is definitely utilitarian. I think that the possibilities for sort of answering one of the questions that were raised earlier, I think that the first thing that would be great to see is everything that's promised about AR. I think that, there's a lot of hype around it that it still hasn't quite delivered. I think that, when we do actually get to a point where we have resolved these kind of, tracking and latency issues, and then the virtual world actually is anchored to the real world, and we can move ahead and that sort of thing, I think that would be great. I mean, you can easily imagine possibilities for it, like getting Google Street View and hooking it into AR so you can look around and then have a whole world mapped. So you can see as far as you can visually, but then the AR will take over and you can sort of essentially look around the curve of the Earth, really.
I guess for the transhumer, it's a nice piece of art and ran for 3 months, but the effort that you put into that could have been something that would live on longer than 3 months and actually be useful to everyone who wasn't interested in fucking up the system. They're actually interested in, you take all that effort and thought, and you create creativity and make it something that's actually useful for the city of Sydney or something like that, right, or wherever it was held in like Sydney, rather than just a... So I think the transhuman thing was a piece of art. I didn't see how that was useful in any sense outside of an art piece.
Outside of an art piece?
Yeah. Did it provide any? I mean, it's dead after 3 months. Like, something that lived on longer than that.
Yeah. Look, I think that's interesting because it's something we just our group's just come out of a period of strategizing about the way we make work. And the way we make work is there's this non-activity, then there's a bit, and there's non-activity. And if you kind of think of the artwork as an animal, we're now looking at the long tail of our artwork and actually how it can have impact outside the show. So we're looking at ways perhaps the work can live on outside of those particular moments when they're shown. So yeah, a relatively small audience, ways that people can work out there blind. So yeah, that's probably, is that fair answer?
I think just also on that issue, that there aren't really sort of standout monetary models for kind of location-based or ubiquitous games at the moment, and quite often the people who do get involved in that area, in this area, are either coming at it from myself, like an academic perspective, or previously an arts perspective. And I think that, yeah, that is sort of the interest, or an activist perspective. Yeah. So I think, and it's not to say that will always be the case. In fact, that is changing a lot.
I'd love to see all this creativity and effort being put into a either commercial sense or businesses getting behind it.
It's interesting that you think commercial is useful.
Yeah,
There's an assumption there, but just dealing with that.
The government's funding this, and they're funding it for an art reason. Why don't they fund it for a useful reason? So it's not really commercial.
What would you
I think it's what we just debate about.
I was going to say, I think the government funding of art is the largest topic for the one we
It's really boring as well. Maybe I can just talk about what's going on in commercial AR world for the moment. So mostly it's informational services, and it's on a game called Jewel Clicker. It's like more a tech demo than anything else. You just run around and collect jewels using radar. And it came out and I got half a dozen responses immediately saying, can I take that and just replace it with Heineken beer cans? It's completely dominated by marketing people, and it's all agency work. But I think the meeting, I've talked about what I see the advantages in, and I think there is a game there that can be commercial.